Are you interested in developing web applications? Well, MERN Stack is the best way to develop complete web applications from scratch. Yes. Like what actually is a MERN Stack? MERN Stack actually focus on JavaScript and build the front end and back end of a complete web application or a website. Let me break down what each component in MERN is. First of all, M stands for MongoDB, that is the database, and E is Express. Express has to write JavaScript code easily. R is React. React is mainly help JavaScript mainly to create a front end. And N is Node.js. Node.js mainly help here to run JavaScript on the back end or in the server side. So let me break that down. First of all, what do you see in the front end? What are you going to see when you open an application or web application or a website? The thing that shown on the display, right? The thing you see actually is the styling that CSS give you and the words that are written in HTML. Like HTML and CSS give you the structure and styling of a web page. And yeah, using HTML and CSS, you can just make a basic bare bone website with basic structure and just a styling to it. But it will not have any functionality. Like you cannot interact with the page. You can just go to another page and another page using links, but you cannot actually do something productive in that page, or the web page will not move according to when you hover around. Or yeah, you can put hover in diseases, but you cannot do much active thing using the website. Java, that is the place where JavaScript come into play. When we use JavaScript in the front end, you can make the page interactive, make the page dynamic, and you can page the make do a lot of things, like a lot of things. When you're building a web application, JavaScript is mandatory to use in the front end because in the case of web applications, there is a lot of thing going on in both front end as well as back end. In the case of front end, JavaScript help us to make the page dynamic. That is the basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And obviously, in the case of MERN stack, we use React in front end to manage all these things and make this thing pretty easily. Like using React application, you can just write one line of code and give you the entire web applications structure in just like a finger of a click. Is pretty fast using React creating front end, and you can edit that and you can modify that according to what you are liking. In current days, React application is kind of fading off, but the contents of it still remain there. And when we go to the back end, the when we go to the server side, Node.js is being shining over there. Like Node, we written entire code, like entire server using Node.js. Node.js is not actually another language or anything similar like that. Node.js is just a runtime environment, like make JavaScript run other than the front end or in the browser. You can use Node.js to run JavaScript everywhere, pretty much everywhere. Here, we are using it to run on the server side. The next thing we have to take care of is the database side, like where the data is stored. In the case of MERN, we use MongoDB as the storage platform where you store all the data to it. MongoDB is a NoSQL database. Like, let me just briefly tell you what SQL and NoSQL database is. SQL It's a structured query language. Like it's all the data is structured like in table, rows and columns. It's pretty useful in the case of bank applications and similarly, but it's not very scalable. So we use NoSQL, not only SQL. It's actually very powerful thing. There is no rows and columns, and you can store the data as very organized as well as in very dynamically way. Usually, we store the data in JSON format as a document, and it's converted into JSON as binary JSON, and it's very scalable. You can add on the data, like you can add big data into it, and it will scale very well. And even you can add multiple servers and shred the data into it, and you can retrieve the data very fast as well. And there is also a replica servers, like if one server crash for some reason, and there will be a replica server like a backup server, and the backup server will act as the main server, and you can use that to do functions without sacrificing much of performance. Yeah, that's the case of MongoDB. That's basically the gist of it. Let me tell you the use case where we use MERN over other. Like what? Why actually you choose MERN over like using Python Django? Like Python Django, you use Python in the back and HTML CSS and maybe a bit of JavaScript there, and Python as the backend and Django to help easily write Python code. Why we use MERN or Python Django or other full stack? The main reasoning is we only have to study one language. Like we just have to study JavaScript, which is the one of the most popular language right now. Maybe we could say maybe the popular language. We just have to study that one language, and we can write it in the front end as well as the back end, and using many other tweaks, and we can even create the mobile applications as well as full PC applications as well. So the possibility is endless. By studying just one language, we can create front end as well as back end. So one developer can actually manage this entire thing pretty easily. So it's a big advantage. And not only that, it's pretty fast, like really fast. JavaScript is actually a very beautiful language, mainly because of its functions. It's actually a single-threaded language, but it acts like a multi-threaded language. It's pretty fun and pretty complicated at the same time. It's a single-threaded language, but you can use libuv and worker thread to make the process run without blocking the main thread. And when the process completed, it use use methods to get the work done and incorporate that to the main thread using events. It's pretty fun. It's really pretty fun way to learn JavaScript and event loop and libuv and all the things that go behind the scene. I actually like to look through how the code run, and it's pretty fun for me as well. So yeah, that's actually the basics of MERN stack development. Hope you like it. Thank you.